It's going to be an incredible weekend. We're putting maximum load on the front tires. We'll see some exciting overtakes down at turn 1. Spa, was it right to give half points for only qualifying? Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and it's F1 Fridays again for this new track for Zandvoort in the Netherlands. It's going to be an incredible weekend, I think. I mean, Max Verstappen party flat out. For me, it's a track that I know very well because I won the Formula 4 championship when I was 16 or 17 years old, long time ago on this track. It was at the time called Formula BMW. Zandvoort also, I have very bad memories because it was the biggest crash in my whole career that I had there. It was in Formula 3. I was coming down the main straight. I think I was P3 trying to overtake P2, and we were 240 down the main straight, and at the end of the straight there's quite a sharp turn, and I got there in this battle in braking battle with this guy who was second, and I hit the brakes. And usually the brake pedal is really solid. I mean, it's really firm. You can hardly move it. You move it like 1 centimeter maximum or something, I don't know. And I hit the brakes, and the brake pedal just went flop. It just fell to the ground. There was zero resistance. The front brakes did work for some reason. They worked. The rear brakes didn't work in that moment. So I think a stone must have hit the braking line on the rear and broken that. And then I was going over the gravel, and I was seeing this wall coming in front of me with just like 2 layers of tires. So that would have been a big impact. And I got scared and I said, okay, I think I prefer going in sideways, because frontal, you only have these 2 thin seat belts that are going to hold you from flying forwards. And sideways, you have the cockpit wall. So my instinct told me, just rip the steering wheel round, because it's better to go in sideways, where I can like rugby tackle sideways the cockpit wall and the wall outside then. And then I got lucky because I was flying over the gravel sideways, and it's so easy to roll in that situation, where then you could go head first into the tire barrier and it's the end. The car was totally dissected and destroyed. I was knocked out for like a couple of minutes. The next thing I remember is the doctor, who must have come from the pit lane, so he was like miles away, who was speaking to me like, here, if I'm okay. So anyways, now Zandvoort, it's a very challenging track, so I'm going to take you through every single detail on a hot lap first and then a slow lap. But before we get started, here's the question that you can answer to get top trending comment on this video, and if you do get that, I'll be sending you a surprise gift. So the question is, who do I think is going to perform best in 2022 with the new regulations? So good luck with your answer. If you get top trending comment, I'm going to send you a gift. And now we start into the hot lap. So that was the end of the hot lap. Good lap there in the end. My God, painful to get there. So many mistakes, so many spins. Ah! But that was a good one. I mean, it's a crazy track. It's a fun track. Very hard to overtake though, because it's so twisty and turny. It's like a street circuit in the end. So now let's go into the slow lap and I'll explain everything to you. Okay, so before we start here, just a quick explanation, because it's a new track for everybody. I mean, no one's been there yet with an F1 car. So how do you adapt and learn it in the best possible way? So first of all, most likely the F1 teams will have sent a truck to that track, and probably they send it all together, one track, that does a laser scan of the whole track, and it can therefore then give you the track in data in a laser three-dimensional scan. So every team will then take that data and then create a virtual track out of that, and it will have every single bump, it will have every single curb, so it's really, really realistic. Huh? So all the drivers will certainly have been driving this track a lot in the simulator. Just to really, it's all about getting a flow of the track, the rhythm, you know. The details will never be able to be exactly right on the simulator, but it's about understanding your braking points more or less. So the 100-meter boards are going to be realistic as well in the simulator as in the real track. So you get a feel for, okay, as the 100-meter boards passes, that's when I'm going to hit the brakes for turn one. You get the flow, you get the lines, how late the turn in, when is your apex, all these things. Those are the things you can really get a head start on in the simulator. So all the drivers will do that. But then still, when you get to real track, and especially as you're getting going, you know, you're always still going to have to build up to finding the limit. So, for example, they're all going to come down on the main straight with 300 kilometers an hour, braking into the first corner. And there, you just have to slowly build up to it, you know. So more or less, you know, with an F1 car where your braking points are. So here it's around 75. So you slam the brakes at 80 to begin with, and then you see how it goes. So now let's come to the only overtaking opportunity on this track, and it's turn one. And so you're DRSing there. The guy in front is going to close the door, so you have to go around the outside. Then you just brake so damn deep, and you can almost go, because there's that banking, you can go two alongside each other through the corner. Also because the ideal line is very wide on the entry, so there'll be a clean track on the outside for much of the entry, so you can really go around the outside and then maybe hang it out on the outside. The problem is you got to be really careful, because if the inside guy is still there, he can really run you off the track and into the gravel. So you have to be like a wheel in front of him by the time you get the entry to the corner done, and then you'll have your overtaking done. So maybe, hopefully, we'll see some exciting overtakes down into turn one. It's possible because with that banking, it's making the straight really, really long. Going into the straight, so maybe we'll see quite some overtakes. Not sure how much curb you can use on the exit there. We have to see how it is in real life. Use as much as you can. Stay left, 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 left. And here, there's a lot of these corners that are like very long corners, big radiuses. You'll see later on the track as well, and they're hard because it's never good to brake very late. Because when you brake very late while steering, you're going to be like understeering off, locking the front tire. So it's a track where you often have to brake early and soft. And also when you brake late, what you do is you put the car into a pitch. So when you brake hard and late, the front end dives down and you're putting the car in a pitch like that. And that changes your aerodynamics also. It will loosen up the rear end, and that's why it's often faster in a Formula One car to help keep the pitch as flat as possible. So even though you lose a little bit of time because you're braking a little bit earlier and softer, you'll make up much more time then in the middle of the corner, because you're coming into the corner with a much more stable situation. You're keeping the aerodynamics in a constant situation, so you'll have much more grip than going through the corner. Also, you're not overloading the front tires as much, because when you steer and brake hard, you're putting maximum load on the front tires. So the front tires will then overheat from entry onwards, so you lose front grip. So in these long corners often, and it's very difficult, because difficult to accept, I brake a little bit earlier, softer, to then be faster mid and exit. It's very difficult to accept, something that I often struggle with in my career. So here, very soft braking, release softly, go on the throttle softly, so really soft steering inputs, everything soft to keep the car settled and then get the maximum mid and exit. So carrying the speed here, and it's the same with downshifts, you know, no extra downshift, keep sixth gear maybe through here, use all the track. So here you use quite a lot of the track, maybe not all the way to the exit, then try and come back, and again you have this bank corner here, so you can brake again quite soft, you brake in deep, you let the car roll in there, then you got third gear in the middle of the corner, early on power, upshift early again, long exit, and then take the speed through because it's quite a long straight. Steering wheel as smoothly as possible down here on this straight. Then stay left for this fast one here. Again, brake softly late, take the speed in, very late apex, downshift sixth gear. You can use all the track on the exit, go a little bit right, because then you need to dive in left to be left, left, left for, again, carrying as much speed through this one as possible, which is to get sixth gear corner. It's very, very fast, almost flat, maybe flat in qualifying. And then here, you're steering quite a lot when you start braking. So again, you got to brake a little bit earlier and softly and just carry the speed. And otherwise, if you brake late, also you just lock up the front tire, overload, and you lose a lot of time. So here, late entry, carry the speed in fourth gear, probably third, hug the apex late, and then use the whole track. But important, keep turning because you have to get back to the right for the next one. So keep steering, try and get back to the right as quickly as possible. Fourth gear, fifth gear, fourth gear down here, third gear again. This is a normal long radius corner. Use the whole track on the exit. Careful, it's very easy to run onto the gravel there. Okay, accelerate back down here. And this is another corner where it's so difficult to get used to when it's the first time on the track, because it's like a sequence of corners. So yes, you can brake really deep, but then you're going to mess up the second part of the sequence completely. So you've got to get used to this. So usually you brake around 80 here. You brake really in a straight line, and then here take speed through. But here it's important not to use all of the road and stay in the middle of the road, because the next corner is the one where you can lose the most time or gain the most time. So you can see the tarmac, the black lines on the track. That's where you need to be, middle of the track here. And then again, carry speed here and try and make a little bit of a V-shaped trajectory here. So you carry the speed in, you stop the car here, then you turn, and then you accelerate out. So you make a little bit of a V-shaped here. Okay, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear. And then this last corner is really, really fast, and it's so hard to get it right. By this time, your tires are overheating, they're raging hot, and it's so important this corner because you've got a long straight afterwards. So sixth gear, you downshift one to fifth gear. And here, it's so difficult to hit the apex for some reason. You brake a little bit deep, you just won't get there to the apex, you know, and you brake early, you lose too much time. So it's important because the curb on the inside, I think, is quite aggressive, so you can't touch too much of it. And you've got to get it just in the right spot, and it will make a big difference in your grip if you get it in the right spot for the cornering. So that's a challenge. And then again, use all the track, and then it's so hard here because right behind the curb there's the gravel. So you'll see a lot of people running out into that gravel there and damaging their floor as well, because the curb is quite aggressive. So this is really a difficult exit because you can't afford to go on the gravel. You need to stay on that curb, use all the track, then come back again because there's gravel. Okay, and then this new corner here, which they've done for F1, they've banked it and put an Armco right there. It's like an oval, it's like a section of an oval where it's easy flat. And here it's just about finding the place on the track where there's the least bumps, because less bumps, you get more speed. And also, I mean, of course, inside, if possible, is going to be the fastest way, but really depends where the track is best. And then just find that ideal line, carry the speed, and that's the end of the lap. So thanks for watching that, and now we're going to jump into Q&A. Question 1 from Alex Ola. What do you think of what happened in Spa? Was it right to give half points for only qualifying? Well, I don't know. I mean, for the fans, of course, it was terrible. So I hope they get next year's race for free or something like that. That would be nice. In terms of points, I don't know. I don't know if it's so... I think it's fine. I mean, because it was a Formula One weekend. Everybody went to the limit in qualifying, and cancelling the whole weekend or giving them points for what everybody achieved until then, half points, I think it's okay. Maybe a third of the points or something would have been a little bit more appropriate, since it really was only qualifying. But nevertheless, I think it was okay, and Max Verstappen deserved to close the championship lead with the phenomenal job he did on the whole weekend and in qualifying. So it's okay. But of course debatable, yeah. Question 2, RB Ushka. How do drivers prepare for a completely new track that you haven't raced in? Sim hours, so it's exactly as I said, and it's simulator, and then also a track walk. Track walk, you may be able to spot some kind of details about some curbs which you wouldn't spot in the simulator, so that can help as well. Question 3, Brugger. I would like to know if the fans at the track give you a lot of motivation as a Formula 1 driver, or if you ignore them. No, of course they give you motivation. I mean, Max Verstappen going to the Netherlands Grand Prix, it's going to be insane for him. I mean, the fans are going to be out of control, and you feel that, but at the same time, it's also sometimes can be a bit more pressure, because you just want that race win a little bit more than everywhere else, because it would be a little bit more special, and so it can also add a little bit of pressure. So it really depends how every driver handles that, but I'm sure Max Verstappen, I mean, with pressure, he knows how to deal with that. So it's going to be phenomenal to watch the support. And on the contrary, it's going to be hard for Lewis, because Lewis is going to be booed a lot, certainly, because of what's happened. That's going to be a tough environment for Lewis to race in. But again, I mean, he's had that before, so he knows how to deal with that, and he remains concentrated. But it will be interesting to follow. Question 4, Ingomar. What do you think, who is going to have an upper hand once new regulations come in? So again, this is your chance to get top trending comment with exactly this question. So I want you to answer this question as well in the comments. And if you get top trending, I'll send you a gift. So the question again was, who's going to have the upper hand in 2022? From my point of view, it's going to be the usual top teams. Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, I think is going to be there. But then maybe there can be some surprises like Alpine or McLaren or or someone like Aston Martin. So that's that opens it up, so that's exciting. Question 5, Raphael Frederick, which camber setup and aero setup will be most applicable for Zandvoort, especially considering the bank setup, bank corners? Zandvoort is quite fast in general on the average speed, so you need quite a lot of camber, especially on the outside left. On the right hand side, not so much, so you have different cambers left to right. In terms of aero settings, I'm not sure, because the straight is very, very long, so it won't be maximum downforce, but it will be just one step below that, I suppose. Yeah, so that's what they do. And then quite a stiff car. Well, it depends. I think average softness on the car, because yes, you have quite fast average speeds, but at the same time you do have a lot of undulations, so a softer car can help with that. So there we go. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more cool action coming up very, very soon. For example, delivery of my Rimac sometimes at some point soon, which color I chose, etc. So subscribe and click the notification button. Thank you very much. Bye bye.